Good evening, everyone. This is your girl, Black and Indigenous American. This evening, I don't have too much in order as far as what I'm going to talk about, but I hope all is well with you guys. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just going to burn a little sage. Just feel like cleansing the atmosphere. So I'm going to burn a little sage, set the tone, set the mood or whatever. Not burning any bay leaves tonight. So I'm gonna let that burn, let it burn. Cleanse the air, cleanse the atmosphere. So anyway, thanks for tuning in, guys. I appreciate your views and listening to me ramble about whatever off the top of my head. Currently, what's been on my mind has been more so beliefs, spirituality, transitioning from one residence to another, and all of that jazz. There's a lot of stuff going on in my my life that requires quite a bit of organization. And with my car situation, I'm almost done with that. And when I say situation, I mean like I had a lease and I was at the end of my lease or about to be at the end of my lease. So I needed to take care of that. Hello, Auntie Pooh and Sade. Hope all is well. I know you noticed the title of this video, right? Okay. So anyway, like I was saying, I'm going through some transitioning right now with home and transportation and all that. But at the end of the day, it's going to be for my highest good. So anyway, I'll get more into details once everything is done, complete, settled, what have you. Right now, I'm munching on trail mix. Someone asked me that in the comment section last time I had a video. Like, what was I munching on? Trail mix, the same mixture of trail mix. So anyway, like I said, I've been really focusing a lot on spirituality. I've pretty much been like that most of my adult life, seeking truth and seeking wisdom and intellect, and I just love to learn, so that's just me. So me being the type that loves to learn, I like to learn other people's belief systems and see that path for what it is and how is it helping them be the best that they can be, right? So I saw somebody post on Facebook, maybe a week ago or a week and a half or whatever. And it was this YouTube web series called JuJu. That's JuJu. And you don't know what that is, you can, do a quick Google search or whatever. And from my understanding, JuJu is another term for working roots, magic, what have you. So I was like, okay, let me go over here and see what they're doing, see what this is about. So I went to YouTube, and thus far there's only been like 2 episodes that have aired and a couple of interviews with the actors or some of the actors. And I stumbled across a music video promoting this web series. Again, it's called JuJu, Juju. That's what it's called. And I loved the colors. Everything was very like strategic. The color scheme, the body movements, and the song that they chose for this video to promote the show. And I've heard of this particular artist a while ago, but I never really caught on to his style. I mean, I couldn't really figure out what his style was or is. He's very versatile, and I didn't. He was pretty much flying under my radar when it comes to the style of music that I like. But the singer in that video that I was talking about to promote that show, JuJu, is called. His name is Jidenna or Jidenna, Jidenna. And again, I've seen him in the past. I kind of glanced at a couple of his music videos, and his style I just wasn't hip to, I guess. But he has a new album out called 85 to Africa, right? 85 meaning like 85, the interstate. And so the song that's promoting the web series called JuJu is called Sufi Woman, I think. Hold on, let me make sure I'm getting that right. 1 second here. 1 second. Yes, Sufi Woman, Sofi. Well, anyway, I didn't know what Sufi meant, because that path of beliefs I was not accustomed to, never heard of it, right? But it's linked to the Muslim faith, but on the mystical side of things. And whenever I hear mystical, my ears perk up, right? I'm like, what is this? What is that? So, again, it's linked to the Muslim faith, but almost like the outskirts of the Muslim faith, where you have mysticism going on, magic, what have you. So anyway, that's pretty much what Sufi means, Fufi. But the name of the song is called Sufi Woman. So when I was watching the promotion video of this web series, and then I heard the song, I kept watching it over again because I loved it. But then I was like, who is singing that song? I think I kind of want to download the song. And then I discovered it was that artist that I really didn't grasp with his style of music. But his new album called 85 to Africa, it has 11 tracks on it. And it's a mix of all kinds of things. For instance, he was in Africa for a minute. I think he said 2 months. And he wrote a bunch of songs while he was in Africa. So wherever he was, he got inspired by his surroundings, and he wrote a song about whatever. So the style of music is very mixed in this album. You have some Afro beats going on. It almost sounds like Caribbean music. And then you have some that sounds very Drake-like, that kind of rap. I think another track music, I think that's what they call it. Again, I'm not as hip as some people. I think track music. But yeah, I would say he is definitely very talented. He's very versatile, and you cannot put him in a box when it comes to a style of music. So anyway, Sufi Woman has a very African kind of sound. And when I say African, I know there's so many countries and so many cultures and so many languages and so many religions on that continent. I understand that. But when I did hear that song, it reminded me of maybe East Africa. So I thought that was pretty cool. And then once I kind of got on a bandwagon with this guy, after listening to this song like 50 times, I decided to explore his album. So there was a couple of lyrics that I liked from 85 to Africa. And The first line says, I need a new conversation. I was like, yes. We all need a new conversation. Every last one of us, even if we don't even realize we need a new conversation. Getting tired of hearing about the same thing over and over again. Where's the progress? Where are the results? Because I obviously keep talking about it and being about it, and it ain't working. Something wrong. And many of us, we keep talking about the same thing, but nothing's happening. You know what I mean? So it says, I need a new conversation. I need a new obligation. And so I'm going to continue to read the lyrics, but I'm going to change the N word to brothers. I don't agree with the N word. I don't care who says it. So he says, sick of brothers consumed by the matrix and their white people rude allegations. I took my crew on vacation. Accra to Abuja amazed them. And I'm sure I'm butchering this. Now they done do DNA SHIT, right? Most of y'all hoping you are from Lagos. I think he has ancestry there. I think his father is from there. So he has, you know, a DNA connection there, like recent DNA, not what you find on your DNA results. Like his father was African. Used to hope we were cool like Jamaicans. And then, I don't know what this is, Barbancourt, because I grew up with Haitians. Anybody out there that's Haitian, you may know what that means. I don't. Mama wanted to seduce my relations back in whatever I was raised in. So there's a question mark. So whoever jotted down the lyrics to the song didn't really understand what Jidenna was talking about. Who you thought brought JuJu out of Salem? So, okay. Most people have heard about Salem, Massachusetts, and the witch hunt and all that. Most people would probably have heard a little bit about that time when the witches were they were tortured and murdered and all that. Churches told me that you are from Satan. Call boys in blue, which I'm assuming he meant cops or police officers. They stealing my patience, chasing my crew like them new condemnations. And then the chorus says, look at how I planned it. I had my hand in. Look at how I got these brothers acting up. Something in the land where brothers run the planet and everybody that be white are packing up. Riding through Atlanta when I gotta vanish. I'll just take the 85 to Africa. He says it like 3 times. Look at how I planned it. I had my hand in. Look at how I got these brothers acting up. Something in the land where brothers run the planet and everybody that be white are packing up. Riding through Atlanta when I gotta vanish. I'll just take the 85 to Africa. And he said a few times, go hard, drop, baby, just back it up. And then the next verse says, do it sound like a new conversation? We still talking about Jewish and Asians. I guess what he meant by that is, why are we still talking about these folks over here and these folks over there? How about we focus on us, you know, improve ourselves and stop worrying about other people? I'm assuming that's what he meant. Talking how to improve our relations. Nowadays, brother, who got the patience? Let's go vacay by the pool in Rwanda, right? Hey, it's a new propaganda. Como ele va tu veranda por Santeria con doble umbanda. I'm sure I butchered that up because I believe that was Spanish. And then the chorus is the same thing, you know. Look at how I planned it. I had my hand in. Look at how I got these brothers acting up, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, the part of the song that I really liked was the very beginning. I need a new conversation. Sick of brothers consumed by the Matrix. That was the top 2 lines that I really liked. Because one thing about the Matrix, if you've seen the movie before, reality is not what you think it is. You know, what we are experiencing right now is the Matrix. If you get out of the Matrix, then that's when you will discover true reality. Right now, we're kind of like a computer. We're like in a computer program type thing. Burning more sage, cleansing the air. So yeah, when he said sick of brothers consumed by the Matrix, I guess Matrix meaning what really doesn't matter, like buying a pair of Jordans or driving a fancy car and you're not improving whatsoever. So anyway, that was one song on the album I liked. The next song on the album I liked was Tribe. Let me get to it first. Hold on. Where is my mouse? Excuse me, guys, where I found my mouse because it has disappeared on the screen. So yeah, Tribe, the lyrics of the Tribe I'm trying to get to. The other song that I like was Vaporizer. I'm assuming he's talking about possibly smoking some type of herb to relax and calm down or whatever. Or maybe he's talking about a woman. I think it's both. I think he's comparing like a woman to zoning out and relaxing with the help of herbal assistance. That's what I'm thinking. Let's see. The next song that I liked, I did say Sufi woman. I'm not going to read the lyrics to that though. Let's see. I am unfortunately unable to find my mouse. It's like frozen somewhere. So I'll just go back to that. But as far as the series, JuJu, I think it's going to be a pretty good series. I mean, obviously it's not as far as the quality of the footage itself. It seems like they have like a regular camera, and they have several of them like placed in different angles, and then they edit it later. So I mean, you won't see that on the big screen, let's just say, like at the movie theater. But I think the further along they get with the series and the more support they get, maybe they'll get some more funding. Maybe they have some Patreons that will donate to the YouTube channel. So they can afford, the luxury of directing, and recording footage that doesn't look like you're using like your cell phone. The storyline I like so far. So far, these sisters, they are not quite sure of their gifts that's like in their bloodline. And so everything is coincidental for them. Like, oh, that's a coincidence that happened or that happened, I mean, this woman keeps showing up. I'm like, who is this woman? Why does she keep showing up? Like, why are you at this party? Or why are you all here? And then they discovered that this woman that kept showing up was an ancestor. And she was trying to guide them. Well, really, she was trying to help them recognize their gifts that they inherited, and not to be afraid of it, and not to overlook it, if that makes sense. She also was there for protection. Like, she saw what was going on, and she was there to kind of help, you know, because so far the villain or the oppressor or whatever in this show thus far is witches from Salem, Massachusetts. And I don't know if this is going to be like a race thing, like the JuJu girls are black and the witches from Salem are white. You know, it could be, but that's, to me, it seems like it's going in that direction. But they were on break for this past holiday, but they're going to pick back up, I think, this week. So I'm gonna keep watching and see where it goes from there. I am still trying to get this mouse thing. And Auntie Pooh, I know you just sent a comment in the chat box, but with this mouse of mine, let me see. What did I do last time with this mouse? Let's see. I might have had to unplug it. There we go. Okay. Now I can move my mouse around. Okay, you said you saw it. Yeah. So anyway, I think this week is when they pick back up again. But anyway, back to Jidenna's album, the song called Tribe. Again, if he says a curse word or if he says the N-word, I'm going to switch it up a little bit. I'm at a point in my life now that I think I can communicate without using language that, in my opinion, is low vibration. So anyway, so the Tribe, I like this song as well. I like the message overall. It's a very in your face and it's unapologetic, right? So again, some of the words I may switch around a little bit, but I like the main point of the song. So it says, who with you? No, who you with? Who your crew? Who your clique? Who your fam? Who your set? Who your gang? Who you rep? F them all, F them all. What my tribe, that my crew, that my clique, that my fam, that my set, that my gang, that my rep, F them all, F them all. That my tribe, yeah, that my tribe, yeah. And then it says, feel like one of the crew, ain't got nothing to do, feel like super glue, feel like one of the crew, and I'm running with you, we got money to move. Put your pride in a trash bin. Too much ego in the captions. Don't get swept up like a Tesla. You ain't really need the gassing. Hate to see my brothers chasing or clashing. Hate the plot, love the casting. Trying to catch a brother lacking. Bet the tribe will outlast them. Every brother got an accent and a funky way of dancing. And we give the world our passion, and they still afraid of black skin. Brothers trying to split a fraction. It's more money for the trapping. Stadiums full of vibranium in the land of the black skin. And it's time that we cash in. Feel the hunger like I'm fasting. Less thinking, more action. I'm so MFing tapped in. Black star on the cap and Babylonian assassin. Fake woke brothers napping. Tuck them in like a napkin. And then you know that he has a chorus or whatever. Then he says, travel wide, travel wide. That should be my battle cry. That should be my alibi now. Travel wide, I and I, by and by, that my tribe. They trying to conquer all the tribe. We laugh and multiply, divide. Let them try, let them try, let them try. F them all, F them all. That my tribe. Yay, that my tribe. Yay, that my tribe. So anyway, I like the song because at the end of the day, you can pick and choose who you want on your team. And sometimes just because you are blood related to someone or a group of people, that does not necessarily mean that you resonate on the same level. Everyone has their own thoughts, ideologies, belief systems, or what have you. And you can love them all day, but they're not like your tribe or your clique. So I kind of like that. Because like he said earlier in this song, he says, he said something about, okay, bet the tribe will outlast them. Every brother got an accent and a funky way of dancing. And we give the world our passion, and they still afraid of black skin. Anyway, I like that part when he said, every brother got an accent, because people that you click with may not necessarily come from the same piece of cloth or the same neighborhood or whatever. But if y'all all click and y'all, y'all resonate together, y'all on the same wavelength, you can chill with them folks because you can be yourself and you can allow them to have a safe place to be themselves because y'all clicking anyway and you get each other. You can't always do that with someone or a group of people that you're related to, because they do things a certain way. It's always been that way forever. And here you come being different. They don't like that. Even though you're related, they think just because you're related, you're supposed to act, think, walk, talk the same way. Not the case. And then they wonder why you don't want to drive 5 hours or 7 hours to see them and only eat at their house during the holidays. Nope. Okay, so the next song I liked on this album, you know what I'm talking about, Auntie Pooh. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Catching attitudes and stuff just because you don't want to eat at that house because you got to sit up straight like this and don't breathe too loud and tuck it all in and stuff because you think they're going to say something to you, which they are going to say something to you because they're going to be analyzing every little thing you do. I don't want to talk about politics. I don't want to talk about religion because we ain't on the same page. I don't want to talk about what happened 30 years ago. It's over. It's done. It's stank. Old news. I need a new conversation. There's more things to be discussing. You know what I mean? There's stuff that just really doesn't matter. And at the end of the day, are you happy? If you are happy, you would not be worrying about other people and what they're doing and how they look and where they go and where they live. You could care less. You want the best for them because you apparently supposed to love them. I mean, family supposed to love each other, right? If you were so happy with your life, you would not be worried about what I'm eating, what I'm drinking, what I'm wearing, who I voted for, and who I believe in. Whatever. Keep it moving. So, next song, like I was telling you guys, was Vaporizer. I like this. This song has a very island feel to it. You know, very islandish. When I think of island, I think of the Caribbean. This kind of almost like an old time, old school reggae kind of sound to it. I like it. So anyway, it says, JuJu baby, mua mo isel. I don't know what that is. You so crazy. I'm scatterbrained myself. JuJu baby, show me the way of. And again, whoever wrote the lyrics put a question mark. So I don't know what that means. I'm going to get what I want now. Ooh, ooh, ooh. I just got to roll up my sleeves. Ooh, ooh, ooh. I just came home to a blunt now, babe. Ooh, ooh, ooh. When I'm with you, my girl, I can breathe. So again, when I read this, or when I listened to it, I was like, well, is he talking about a woman or is he talking about smoking herb? I don't understand what he means by that. Anyway, so the chorus says, vaporizer, don't change my mind. My vaporizer, I'm breathing easy when I'm with you. Then verse 2 says, let me love you like I can. Let me love you, your wish is my command. Can I trust you? Trust you in my plan? Let me judge you. I'm sharp as Dapper Dan or Dapper Dan. JuJu lady, moose me, baby. Ooh, you're so amusing, baby. I just want to live my love with you. JuJu lady, you believe when I was nowhere near, and now I tell them again, now they see it's true. And so that verse, I'm like, okay, well, maybe he's talking about a woman or his love affair with the herb. Like Mary Jane, you know. I'm sure a lot of you guys heard that song before. And then the outro says, JuJu lady, moose me, baby. You are so amusing, baby. I just want to live my life. I just want to live my love with you. Hey, JuJu lady, moose me, baby. You are so amusing, baby. I just want to live my love with you. Hey. JuJu lady, moose baby. You are so amusing, baby. I just want to live my love with you. So anyway, that's how that song went. And again, I love the vibe of the song. Okay, let me see if I can find, and I'm not gonna play the whole thing because I know how YouTube can be. Let me find the beginning of the song, and then I'm gonna cut it off so I don't get flagged or whatever. So let me see. Vaporizer. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. It's been on heavy repeat through YouTube because I haven't downloaded anything yet. So, and like I said, I'm going to just play the first part so you can kind of get the vibe of the very first few seconds, okay? Okay, now I gotta get through the stupid ad, so I'm gonna mute it. Okay.
JuJu baby, mademoiselle.
Okay, so anyway, you got a little taste of that. And then let's see. And even like I think I might just play a couple of seconds of each song so you can kind of get the, the feel of the music and stuff. But to me, that sounds very African, kind of sort of Jamaican, old school sounding. I kind of like that. So let me see. Jidenna. Vaporizer. Do, 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 do. Da, 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 do, 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 do. And like I said, this artist, he can really alter his accent, his vocal cords. Like, you would think he was a totally different person every other song. He doesn't sound the same. Let's see. Like, this song is the first song, worth the wait. I kind of like it. This sound more like a Drake style song.
Yeah. I go for the records. I don't just go for the medals, bro.
Okay, that's all I'm playing with that one. And then, yeah, that one sound a lot like Drake. And then the one 85 to Africa that I was telling you guys about. That one, let's see. I definitely liked. Let's see the next song. That was worth the wait in at 85. Again, I'm just gonna play it once the ads are done.
Yeah. I needed new conversations. I needed new obligations. Sick of niggas soon by the matrix. And then white people rude allegations. Right?
Okay. I could play that the whole time, but you know how things are, and I don't want to get flagged. Okay, so the next song that I liked was, like I said, Sufi Woman. And let's see.
Sufi woman, bring me room till I fall asleep up on your bosom.
Anyway, let me see if the beat comes in.
You go, 999. You go, shake it. You go see the goddess in La Bruja.
Okay, that's enough of that. And then the next song, let's see. Let's see. That's the song that got me over to his YouTube page to listen to the rest of his album. That's the song that was on the promo video for the JuJu web series on YouTube. So I like that song. And then yeah, I think those are the top songs that I liked from the album. The others were okay, but those were the top ones I liked. And he's unapologetic about his spiritual path, which is very African. And let me see that Worth the Wait song. Let me read the lyrics to that one. Worth the Wait. That was the first song clip that I played. That I think I like the song. It's very raw in your face, and it does have that Drake kind of sound, or maybe Drake sounds like him. I don't know who came first because I don't keep up with them. But the Worth the Wait lyric said, this is like him kind of reintroducing himself to his existing fan base and his new fan base, right? He says, the lyric says, and then again, this is the first song on the album, 85 to Africa. That's the name of the album. But this is the first song on it, the first track, Worth the Wait. And it says, people, confusion going on. Why don't we just learn how to live with one another? It's not really impossible. Why do we have to make it so hard? With so much pollution and erosion, why? Why? If we can learn how to live with one another, then we can learn who is going to take the weight. Wait, I think that you'll find it. Wait, I think that you'll find it. Wait, I think you will find it. Yeah. I go for the record. I don't just go for the medals, bro. Brothers used to know that we stronger than the devil, bro. Since I buried Papa in the village with the shovel, bro. Every move is bold. Ain't no time for being subtle, bro. In the face of evil, I can find a needle haystack. Could have freed my people if this weed was legal way back. Popo spun the wheel of misfortune, but I ain't play that. They come round and pat us down, but I ain't say jack. I escaped the trap. I escaped the cubicles, bro. I escaped the drive-bys, dropped the funerals, bro. And I beat the case, and I beat the case, woo woo. Can I keep the pace? Can I keep the pace? I don't know. I escaped them trying bleach a brother's brain. Coulda went to Wall Street instead. I built up my own lane. Rather have a street in my own name or money with my face on it like I'm Prince Hakeem. Hakeem, guys, if you don't know, is from the movie Coming to America. You know, Hakeem had his face on his own money. That's what I'm talking about. You know, gone see me frowning in these days and times. You see the days of the Oyinbo man are numbered like football dresses. I think he meant jerseys, whoever wrote this, the lyrics, football jerseys. We now know that all of our suffering and smiling has been worth the wait. My brother, who knew? Who knew that that boy from Enugu with the boo-boo on his knee back then was acting like a poodle on a leash. One day he'd have to learn the JuJu on the streets, staring at death like, is your shooters going to squeeze? Freeze, please. As a little boy slanging chains back in Chinatown, thinking to myself, I'ma build a blacker kind of town with my wealth. And I pray that I'm the brightest sound that you ever felt. I'm take a million flights around till that shh is felt. That's that lead the way. Hey, that's no piece of cake. Hey, that's that troll online that live inside the tree all day. Hey, that's that he so gay. Hey, that's that she so fake. Hey, that's that insecure. Hey, that's that Issa Rae. Hey, you do you, me do me. So long as you don't F with me, we baby. I believe it's time for African people's powered highway, a highway that will connect the diaspora and the motherland, a global highway for African people all over the world to discover themselves, to remember that the only thing that unites Black people globally, the only thing we have in common is that we are from Africa. Now that last part, that was a clip of somebody. I don't know if this was somebody in Ghana, possibly someone who is like an official or politician or businessman. I don't know. But the point is, this was a clip of this guy talking about people who are linked genetically to the continent of Africa should not only feel at home there, but also invest there. Because there's a lot of money here. And a lot of money here is very selfishly obtained and within small circles versus investing in, an African country or whatever. So this song right here, again, was the first track on the album that came out this past August, by the way. This song right here, at least for me, it introduced me to another side of this artist. I mean, he raps, he sings. I mean, he's all over the place. He's all over the place. But with this song right here, it was like he was like unapologetic. This is what I'm about. This is what I'm about. Take it or leave it. So I can respect that. I can respect that. I believe his mother's white, his father's African. This artist gravitates to his Black identity, and that's his business. You know me, I don't pick and choose or whatever. I am what I am, but I can respect the fact that he wants to uplift a group of people that he's linked to that has gone through so much, be it spiritually, be it financially, be it culturally, be it racially, what have you. So I can respect that. Okay. He is very Afrocentric from, you know, his album. And I've actually watched a couple of interviews because, again, I'm just learning about this guy other than when he first came out and I wasn't feeling his style. But I'm just learning about this guy, you know, what he's all about. So the part in this, the part in the song that caught my attention, like really, you know, really got my attention, was when he said, I go for the record. I don't just go for the medals, bro. Brothers used to know that we stronger than the devil, bro. Since I buried Papa in the village with the shovel, bro. Every move is bold. Ain't no time for being subtle, bro. And I was like, okay, you got my attention. You got my attention. Because when he first started putting down, you know, the lyrics, I was like, he coming hard. Okay. I come from an era of rap. Started out, you know, hip hop, hippity to the hippity to hip hop, and don't stop. You know, that style of rap, hip hop or whatever, to gangster rap, to the rap these days is all about bling bling, you know, whatever. And then over time, I've just kind of gotten tired of it because they weren't saying nothing, you know, like, okay, what? And it's like, okay, that's funny, but what are you saying? Do you have anything that's solid? What are you talking about? So this guy, he has something to talk about. So I don't agree with everything that he's putting out there, but that's his truth, that's his path, and I can respect that. But the songs that I just mentioned caught my attention. Let's just put it that way. Hi, sweet. Thanks for chiming in. So my sister was like, yeah, Drake all day. Yeah, he does sound like a lot. Well, they're similar in their style, at least for that one song that I was talking about, Worth the Wait. That sound very much like a Drake kind of spit bars type song. But one thing about Drake, he's versatile as well. I'm not a fan of Drake, but he can act, he can sing, and he can rap. And when I say act, not just on the silver screen either. I'm talking about acting like he's down, acting like he done went through ghetto town or whatever. Like he got street cred, and he has gotten respect over the years, obviously, but dude didn't live like a lot of the rappers live. But he got that swag though, because he's a great actor. I have to give it to him. He's a really good actor. Now he can act like he just Turk. I hope I'm not mispronouncing your screen name, but thanks for chiming in. You said fire. I agree. They rap like that in Ghana. I love it. I love it. Would you call it Afrobeat? I was assuming it is, but apparently there's so many different styles of music from the continent of Africa. It's not all considered Afrobeat. So correct me if I'm wrong, but I love it. They help put us in America. That help put us in America. I don't understand what you meant by that. Turk, if you could clarify when you said that helped put us in America. I guess rap? I don't know. Okay. So anyway, I'm done talking about that album. And also with the web series JuJu. Like I said, you can go to their YouTube channel. What I'll do right now is I'll put it in the chat box, and you can just, click on a link at your leisure and check it out. I say try to support these young actors and actresses. the directors, what have you. You know, just like a video, subscribe, whatever you need to do to try to support them. I don't agree, obviously, of everything. The storyline so far is kind of predictable. So if they can kind of mix it up a little bit, that would be cool. But I appreciate the platform that's being used right now to bring attention to another layer of belief systems that you wouldn't typically associate with a group of people, if that makes sense. I think some things on a spiritual level is kind of interwoven in what is, or at least in your community, what is acceptable, right? Some things are just unspoken. And then years later, you wonder, why did so-and-so do that? That was normal. That was part of everyday life. That was part of your household. And no one really highlighted it because it was frowned upon publicly. So you're wondering later in life, like, well, that's the norm in my family, or that's the norm, you know, where I come from. Is that really what that is? Well, why ain't nobody talking about it? You know, that type of thing. So I kind of think this show is leaning in that direction. Okay. Torek says European and Africans put Black people in America and now putting us in Africa. So my question for you, Torek, is, are you against people investing in Africa that have African genetic ties to that continent? What do you think? Because I believe that it was an inside, well, not an inside deal, but Europeans that were involved in the slave trade and all that, I don't believe that they just came in and just scooped everybody up and threw them on a boat. I believe that there was some currency exchanged between those in power on the coast of Africa and those Europeans that were in the business of shipping or human trafficking. Let's just put it that way, because that's what it is. Turk says, what do you think Native Africans think? You know what? That's a good question. I was thinking the same thing the other day. I'm like, I've been around Africans in the DC metropolitan area. My former neighbor was from Africa, in particular Ghana. And just because of people are genetically connected on a continent scale, that does not necessarily mean that they're going to be holding hands and singing Kumbaya. Now, see, in this country, most African American, Black American, what have you, American people are kind of boxed together. The system boxed them together. So, you know, that in of itself created a bond where most Black people vote a certain way. Most Black people think a certain way in this country. Most Black people like a certain kind of music in this country. Most Black people have code words in this country, and we kind of understand each other. You know, the look in the eye, the nod, when you walk by, you acknowledge each other. Not the case when you're dealing with other people of color, in particular Africans, sub-Saharan Africans. Some may be okay with African Americans migrating to Africa, but I don't think it's going to be all open arms, to be honest with you. And many African American people have connections right here on this soil. They have ancestry, indigenous people on this continent, and I'm one of them. And my sister and Auntie Pooh and Sade are also one of them as well. So to kind of like say, well, we're going to Africa, we're going to invest in Africa, we're going to build in Africa. I mean, that's a beautiful thing for some people, but for me, I'm torn. Like, I literally would want to have, let's say, dual citizenship or whatever like that, somewhere on the Western Hemisphere and somewhere in Africa. That's cool. But for me to give up my citizenship and then just move to Africa, and the blood, sweat, and tears of my indigenous American roots, ancestry, genetics, DNA is deep, deep, deep down. To me, that just don't feel right. Now, people that are not more so are connected to Africa based on genetics, and it's just, you know, a couple of sprinkles of this and that in their DNA pool, but for the most part, they're very much African. And I know African can be very generic as well, but we have so many people. That's all I gotta say about that. Turk says, what about the people from America that was put in Africa? Are we talking about Liberia? Turk, are you talking about Liberia? I'm thinking of Liberia right now. Or did they choose, did those sets of African American people choose after slavery, did they choose to go relocate to Africa? Because I feel I'm thinking of the Liberian people. Because I have an associate, we went to church together, whatever. She has now relocated back to Liberia because she's Liberian. I think I said that right. But yeah, she moved back to Liberia. But when she educated me, she told me that her ancestors were once in the United States. But then after slavery and everything like that, they were shipped to Liberia, I think, if I'm not mistaken. And then Turek says, how long or how many years you think you've been out of Africa? That's a difficult question. The reason why I said it is because, and this is an unpopular theory, but I believe that where I'm from, which is the southeast region or southeastern region of the United States, I believe that the indigenous population in this region were connected to Africa before Columbus and his minions decided to get lost at sea. So my ancestry, as far as skin, has always been on a dark side. And I believe that the darkness probably came from Africans who were explorers as well, that came to this continent, but way before Columbus. And Columbus did not come here. He was in the Caribbean. But you know what I mean. Because you had Spanish, you had French, you know, they explored as well, not just the English. So that's where I am. Not saying all indigenous American people come from Black folks. I'm not coming from that mindset. I'm just saying in the Southeast region of the United States, I believe those group of the indigenous American people were also introduced to Africans way before 1492. And then you have other indigenous American people that did not. Some believe they've always been here. Some believe that they came from Asia somewhere and migrated to the now United States, but Turtle Island or whatever, the Western Hemisphere. So that's where I am with that thought. I just believe there were dark people, not just from Africa, but just dark people in general. That's all over the world. So when people think of dark people, they just assume Africa. But there are dark people all over this world that didn't necessarily come from the continent of Africa. That in and of itself is a debate that will go on forever. But that's where I am with that. Afro-Brazilian, you said Afro-Brazilian communities, which has the largest African diaspora population in the Western Hemisphere. Let's see. You said Nova Scotia. I know nothing about that. And then you said maybe that's the DNA we are picking up. Auntie Pooh said, Sweet says, so true about people. Not all Blacks the same or think the same. Exactly. I get so tired of people putting a group of people in a box when we're so diverse. Like I say this all the time. I said, when people try to connect all Black people together, I said, they ain't my people. Them folks across the river are not my people. Yeah, they may have dark skin or whatever. They are not my group of people. I'm telling you, it's like once you cross over the Potomac River into the state I live in now, it's a whole new breed of Black folks. Whole new breed. Totally different. But, they try to put us all together. And we're not all the same. Okay. Let's see. Turk says most of the slaves in North America was from the Caribbean and Brazil. Exactly. Get this. When I did my DNA test years ago, the African diaspora that popped up in my DNA that was strong was not in this country. No, it was in the Caribbean. And the strongest connection was Jamaica, Bahamas, and get this, y'all, Haiti. Those are the top three that was linked to my Black African diaspora genetic pool. The top one was Jamaica, then Bahamas, and then Haiti. And to be honest with you, I believe all of that came from my mom's dad's side of the family. Because that side of the family looked like they probably could have been Haitian or anything like that, my mom's dad's side. That's the side of the family that she grew up in. I very much doubted on my daddy's side. My daddy's side, I very much doubted. But my mom's dad's side, he was a straight up Black man. Like literally, like my grandfather looked like he could have been straight from Africa somewhere, or Haitian or something. Let's see. Auntie Pooh said true. Turek says, what African customs do we keep up in America? African customs. I would say something that's genetically like attached to our aura, you know. I would say some of the movements that we do, right? The drum, right? That drum, the movements. I was just thinking about this earlier today. I was listening to some drumming from the south of the border that was linked to, I want to say Orisha or Santeria. I can't remember. But I was just like, you know, just flipping through some of the YouTube videos and just listening to some drum music or whatever. And the chants and stuff. I said, you know what that sound like? At the end of the day, that sound like a Southern Baptist church or any church that a typical African-American person grew up in. The shouting and the clapping. Oh, and when they get the Holy Ghost, falling out and everything, waving their arms and stuff and doing the jive or, you know, doing that thing. A lot of those movements are very, very, very distinctive. That's linked to some indigenous African people. It's sometimes that DNA memory is never going to be erased. It passes down from generation to generation. So I think that was how I wanted to answer that question. I even see some similarities crossing different tribal groups, not just African, but just tribal groups in general. You can go anywhere and you can listen to some of the chants, watch some of the dances, the drumming or whatever. It's very similar. Not saying these people are Black or linked to Africa, but it's very similar, that indigenous rhythm, right? That indigenous rhythm, wherever those people are from, whatever land that they were birthed in, they lived on, and they died on, right? And they buried in. It's like, it's very familiar. So, oh, and I'm thinking of the Gullah people. Yeah, it's the Gullah people off the coast of South Carolina. They were isolated from the rest of the United States. So a lot of times they were able to hold on to a lot of their African customs and religion and everything. I just know a little bit about them. Now, I heard through the grapevine that you can literally visit the Gullah people. You just can't stay overnight, but they will allow you to visit the island and all of that as tourists, but you can't stay there. You have to leave, you know. And when I heard about that, I was like, road trip? Yeah, I'm very fascinated in that group of people. Because again, they were isolated from the rest of this stuff, you know. And even though many of us have advanced quite a bit by assimilating, after you've been assimilated for so many generations, you have that one generation that's hungry for the authentic identity, their ancient identity. And all those years that went by when some people turn their nose up at their, the way their family did certain things because they weren't educated, because they weren't civilized, right? Oh, leave that stuff alone. That's not good for you. Many of us have been taught that. Many of us have gone the route of being assimilated even more. And now some of us are learning that what we thought was beneficial has actually stunt our growth spiritually. It stunt our growth as far as our identity, our authentic, true identity. And many of us are now waking up. We're going back, for instance, the Sweat Lodge. We're going back to really tap into what really matters. Be who you're supposed to be. And so that's how I feel about that. Tarek says, let's see. Oh, let me go up a little bit. Sorry, sweet, I overlooked your comment. He says, it's a book on Amazon that is called When the World Was Black. It is a 2-book, part 1 and 2. Cool. I'm going to have to look that up. I don't think I have that book. And you guys know how I feel about books now. Y'all know. I find something that I can, learn something about myself or the people that represent who I am. I'm all for it. I want to read it. Okay. So I'm going to have to check out that book for real, for real. Thanks for suggesting that, sweet. Auntie Pooh said, laugh out loud. I don't know what you're laughing at, but I'm sure I'm sure you will let me know later, Auntie Pooh. Let's see. Turok says, Taino DNA links. They call them people the Maroons. Powwow drums. Yeah. Samba drums. You know what's funny is that when I go to a powwow, I'm very hesitant to get in the circle and dance or whatever. I mean, I do it, but it's just different when I go to listen to samba drums, or if I'm listening to salsa or merengue. It's like, I don't know what it is. I just don't know what it is. But as soon as they hit that beat, it's like, I gotta get up. I can't sit down long. I just can't. It's just something about that beat. It's just something about it. It's just like, I cannot sit down. And again, the powwow drum, to me, it pulls me in, but it's almost like, I want that to be a private thing, if that makes sense. That powwow drum, when it pulls me in, I don't want to be looked at. I just want to be able to experience it, but in private. That's how I feel about the powwow drum. Like, I'll get close to the powwow drum, in particular at the end of a powwow, the closing song, the travel song, and I'll get close to the drum, and there's definitely a layer of respect that we all have for the drum. And so usually it's no fooling around or whatever around the drum. Everyone just stands around the drum and sings or whatever. But yeah, whenever I go into that circle, it's like a sense of reverence. And I just want to not be seen, to not be watched. I just want that to be private. And that's part of the reason why I don't do powwows as much as I used to, because I've said this in a video maybe 4 or 5 years ago that I felt disconnected. And nowadays I pick and choose which ones I go to depending on the people that I know gonna show up. Because some people I vibe well with than others. So some powwows I just wrote them off. I never have gone back, and really not pressed to go back. And so I'm more excited about spending time in private with those who are, Indigenous American as well. Like I said, the Sweat Lodge, or like this past weekend, I attended this. It was like a potluck type thing / remembrance gathering, because with the Thanksgiving holiday, it's not really Thanksgiving. So when we gathered together on Saturday, that was a sense of reverence. And so at the beginning, there was remembering those who have failed due to European colonization and all that, right? And then it was followed up by a prayer song, which my love song. And then after that, there was a prayer or a blessing. And I forgot the language. I want to say it was Sesequa. What was the language? I'm trying to remember what it was. If you guys have yet to see this Netflix movie called Juanita, you should check it out. The Netflix movie called Juanita. So the one who did the prayer, back to the prayer, the one who did the prayer in that language, I'm trying to look it up right now. He actually was an extra in that movie. There was a powwow scene. And get this, the powwow scene I learned this past weekend was actually taped in Richmond, Virginia at a ballpark. Not over, out west or whatever. It was actually taped in Richmond, Virginia. So that's a cool fact. But again, the name of the movie is called Juanita on Netflix. Let's see. I'm looking up this information real quick. Give me a moment here. It was called Seneca. Yeah, Seneca language. The original prayer, it says the original prayer said at Thanksgiving and before nearly all ceremonies and gatherings from the Seneca language. And so if you go to a website called SenecaLanguage.com, that's SENECA language.com, that's where it is. While I'm at it, since I'm in the mood to share, I'm going to go to the website right now and add it to the comment box. So that was read, that prayer was read at the beginning before we had our feast, which was pretty good, by the way. And it was a very appropriate, I think, way to enjoy time with like-minded people, and also have reverence for those who suffered due to colonization. So there was really no Thanksgiving. But anyway, what else? This coming up Saturday, I mentioned in the last video, but the coming up Saturday is Washington football teams change the name, rebrand, or whatever. There's going to be a rally at the headquarters in Northern Virginia, which is in Ashburn, Virginia. I'm not going to be able to make that because I got to deal with my car. But that's something, among other things, that I gravitate more to versus a powwow. A powwow has its place, like I said before. And as far as the drum, I'm very much connected to that drum. But like I said, it's hard for me to explain. I would prefer that to not be a public thing. I would prefer that to be more on a private thing, like a private ceremony. And I understand powwows don't have a lot of the sacred stuff in it. It's more like a festival. It's very vague kind of way to allow spectators to come in and see, hey, there's still Native Americans living in my area. Oh, who would have thought? Oh my God. And they're wearing feathers and stuff. So anyway, that's for them. But for the rest of us, it's more like, well, I hadn't seen my friend such and such in a while. We're going to meet at the powwow and we're going to finish working on, bead work or whatever. Or vendors, that vend their, merchandise or whatever, food vendors, stuff like that. So that's cool for the vendors. That's cool for spectators. But at this point in my life, when I go to a powwow, half the time I'm not watching the dancers. I'm not, I'm just seeing people I'm cool with and figuring out when the next time we're gonna meet up that has nothing to do with a powwow. Maybe there's something has to do with some kind of program or something. That's kind of where I am right now. And I know that was a long-winded answer. With the whole powwow drum thing. Turuk says, Marcus American word. Okay. Which one? Nobody knows. See, that's why Native Africans laugh at us. We are different. You talking about African, indigenous Africans? Is that what you're talking about? Because again, I don't think if African-American Black folks or whatever decide to pick up and move and invest somewhere in Africa, in particular, I'm thinking of Ghana right now. I really don't think everybody there going to be treating us like the Obamas, right? We get off the plane and they got red carpet and folks dancing and singing and welcoming us. There may be some, but I don't think that's the overall opinion across the nation or across the country. There's going to be some disappointed people. I was watching, I think it was House Hunters International or something like that. I think it was last week. And this young African-American Black girl, I said girl, she probably was like in her early 20s. She was very free-spirited, carefree, on the spoiled side, I would say. And she was so in love with finding her roots and everything. I think she did a DNA test and she decided that she was going to uproot herself from her New York City lifestyle and move to, I think, Nigeria. So anyway, when she gets there, she's not buying a house. She's actually trying to find somewhere to rent. And she had her budget. It was so funny because I could tell her little youthful, I can take over the world, nothing can stop me. Facial expression just like went to like this too. Because you thought you're gonna be treated like the Obamas when you got over there. It was not the case. And she had to settle for, something she really didn't want. I mean, it was all right, but they had like live chickens and goats outside her apartment. Because she thought she was, housewives of New York City or whatever, the way she was acting. I mean, she was learning different traditional dishes. Some local people taught her how to make in the kitchen. So she was proud of that, right? Then they dressed up in some traditional, dresses and head dresses or whatever. So she thought she was a queen or whatever. But she had a rude awakening that if you think just because you're going to move here, everybody going to be holding your hand and treating you like you've been living there all your life. No, they're not going to treat you special. If anything, you need to learn their customs and their way of living. You can't bring your mindset, New York City, and spoiled mindset to a country like that, where they're like, you're here. You're not in the United States anymore. So you need to learn how things are here. And no, we're not going to treat you special. So I kind of like laughed to myself, and I kind of felt bad for her too, because she really thought she was going to have like a Coming to America but reverse type situation. Now maybe she's going to marry her king or prince or something. Mm-mm. No. So that was funny. I thought it was funny. But I don't want to how some people say, steal her joy, and her dreams and aspirations or whatever. But you can tell she was like fresh out of college or something. And I know how it was when I was, in school and thought nothing could stop me because I was doing everything I thought that was right. The world does not treat you the way you think you would be treated based on somebody else's blueprint, right? Somebody else's blueprint, it worked for them. And then you want to follow behind what they did and the steps they made to get where they got or where they are. That path may not necessarily be the path you need to be on because that's theirs. That's their blueprint. That's their fingerprint on their life. You need to find yours and work with that. Turok says, where in Africa or tribe that plays reggae music? I don't know, to be honest with you. I know reggae is played in the Caribbean, like Jamaica or whatever. I don't know if that was a sarcastic question. But I don't know where in Africa. I know Africans probably listen to music from here, but that doesn't necessarily mean that music from here is actually from Africa. Gullah Geechee have Barbados accents. Oh, that's interesting. The Cape Verdeans and the Brazilians, they both speak Portuguese because the Portuguese had very much a huge influence with the slave trade or whatever. So obviously, conquerors, you got to speak their language. And so I don't know about the accents or whatever, but I know that they have some similarities. Like, for instance, Brazil has their Mardi Gras, whatever you want to call it. And Cape Verdeans have theirs. And I thought that was interesting. It was very, very similar. With the headdresses and the dancers and everything. And Cape Verdean Islands, if you guys don't know, are islands off the coast of West Africa. Let's see. Turk says, what African foods we eat? I don't know. I have no clue. I know what foods we were introduced to and how that slop was turned into soul food. And a big chunk of that slop is linked to indigenous American cuisine. Sweet says, yes, I am reading it now. You will like it, no problem. Nice. You must be talking about that book that you referred, When the World Was Black. Sweet. Okay. Turk says powwow drums similar to the steel pan Caribbean and Louisiana. Yeah, I think so too, Turk. Ari Ben Kendricks, Algonquin and Narragansett in Northeast. Hi, Ari. Can you expand on your comment? Because I know you posted your comment a few minutes ago, and I don't know exactly where you were in your mind when you when you typed that. Of course, my sister's laughing out loud and laughing. She says, Auntie Pooh and Shadi says, plain teens, true. So you must be talking about that young female that moved to Africa thinking she was going to get royal treatment or whatever. And like I said, it was on, I think it was House Hunter International. Let me see if I can find it. House Hunter International. I think it was somewhere in Africa. Well, it wasn't Africa, duh. I think it was somewhere like in Nigeria or something. Let me see where this girl, she was from New York City. And then y'all will see what I'm talking about. Oh, yeah, I found it. That was quick. Let's see. Canadian Cara Haberman met American Jed Fix while attending university in New York City. After graduation, she landed a job in New York that held her work visa to live in the States while he went to synagogue with the Peace Corps. After 2 years, Jed returned and both held jobs in international development in New York.